Shall we get started?
Yes.
All right, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dead Formats, a movie podcast once again in search of cinematic artifacts floating in the cosmic vastness of space. I'm your host, Chris, and this episode we're going to be discussing Feeders 2, Sleigh Bells from 1998. And this week I'm joined by two guests who are bound to spend the new year on the unemployment line. Dan, Triv, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, but the guy behind me is a little bit too close, and the guy in front of me is not close enough.
I thought there was going to be waffles, guys. Why aren't there waffles?
That eternal question, why aren't there waffles?
I'm trying to think of a good pun for a Waffle House unemployment line crossover joke. It's not coming, but I'll work on it. Chime
in 45 minutes later when it comes to you.
You know what I'm realizing about the guys that are around me in line? They're not elves. They're monsters.
So yeah, Dan and Triv, they're YouTubers from TYTD Reviews and Trivial Theater, respectively. Most recently, they were on this show to discuss two German splatter SOV films, Zyklus and Splotch. So go back and listen to that episode if you haven't. But they first appeared on this podcast together to discuss the classic Polonia McBride joint, Feeders. And it's Christmas time, so I had to have them back on to discuss the Yuletide sequel, Feeders 2.
I would be ashamed if I wasn't here.
One of my favourite things about this film, just as an overview, is that the Polonia brothers finished Feeders and spent nearly 2 to 3 years meticulously thinking, what can we do with this series now that the first chapter is established? Do we go deeper into the lore? Do we explore, what motivates the Feeders? Do we do a higher budgeted remake? And they settled on a Christmas film.
I mean, that's like going to space. Isn't that the logical next step, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe like 2 or 3 entries in the line. When it's like Feeders 4, Feeders 5, that's when you start doing In the Hood and In Space and goes to Washington. But to
be fair,
straight in sequel.
I mean, they probably had made 20 movies in between Feeders and Feeders 2 in those 2 years, so they were probably out of ideas.
It was true. I mean, they were technically making 4 films while they were making Feeders, so...
Yeah, so this one, like its predecessor, is a shot-on-video film. But before we talk about this film anymore, how do you guys feel about Christmas movies in general? 'Tis the season.
Triv appears to be having some minor difficulties. I'll jump in. So for me, Christmas movies, I genuinely have a bit of a love for them, whether they're the sort of cheesy, schmaltzy, hallmarky movies, or right the way through to your sort of mainstream classics, your National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, your Grinch Who Stole Christmas, Charlie Brown Christmas. I love them all, generally. What I will say is that SOV Christmas films specifically are a different beast to your more typical Christmas film fodder. There are films like Christmas Craft Massacre and Santa Claus and obviously Feeders 2. And it's very hard to describe the difference between like your typical like actual budgeted Christmas film and something that's SOV driven, because they don't seem to have the budget or the time to truly make something look like Christmas whilst desperately trying to make it look like Christmas. It feels almost alien in a sense.
Alien,
and that's well, this is the thing, and that's one of the qualities I really love about Feeders 2, is that they try their damnedest to make it look Christmassy when it's clearly like September, and they've got like the Christmas decorations they keep in their attic, and that's about it. And I have to admire somebody who will try to do that. It really sort of helps set the season up in the correct way.
It is quite a movie to look at, and I apologize for falling out there for a second, but
no worries.
Yeah, it is this. I remember watching this and thinking, okay, clearly the people that show up multiple times, they're either stock regulars or they're family and friends of the Polonias, and I think Bernice is his wife, and I'm guessing those are his kids, just given the fact that they've appeared, at least the daughter has appeared in other stuff. But yeah, just like that's clearly his house, that's clearly his car. Like it is a homegrown piece of film And regardless of your thoughts on it one way or the other, I think that is so endearing because you have to open up your house. Like people are going to see pictures of you, and for some reason your ugly ass bathrobe that hangs on the back of the bedroom door throughout like half of the movie. Like all the things you look at and you just like you don't think about them, but then someone else goes, "Dear God, why is there a goose over his shoulder in the one shot?"
Yeah. I mean, in many ways, is it not the true spirit of Christmas to open up your house to weirdos on the internet?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
So this one, Triv has covered this on her channel, so go check that out. Woo-hoo. For me and Dan, this is a first time watch, and hopefully if we get to Feeders 3, that will be a first time for all of us, right, Triv? Have you?
Oh, yeah.
You haven't made it to that one yet?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, so
first time for me.
Since we watched Feeders 2, I have watched one other Polonia McBride film for my 31 and 31 during October, which was Blood Red Planet from 2000. I think that is my favorite of theirs that I've seen so far. Right over the plate for me. It's kind of, the Polonia McBride version of Star Crystal, basically. So
nice.
Fantastic. Right, well, that's going on my wish list. I'm watching that over Christmas. Thank you very much for the heads up on that one.
Yeah,
quite
that sounds
similar.
awesome.
And it's funny because it has a similar setup where it starts off people on a spaceship, they all die, and then a second group of people comes in to more or less do the same thing. The second group is, I don't remember which Polonia it is, but it's John McBride and a Polonia. And when they sat down at the spaceship control panel, which I'm fairly certain is the same video editing equipment used in this movie for the feeder spaceship, it was me being the Leo meme, like snapping and pointing at the TV. It's funny because I think my review on Letterboxd is like them showing up is the equivalent to like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man showing up at the climax of like Infinity War for me, like a stand up and clap. I'm just nice. They make me happy.
I'm still trying to process Star Crystal produced by the Polonia brothers, and the imagery it's generating is next level. I'm quite excited about this now. I may have to leave in advance just to go and catch this.
Pretty good. I don't know, and maybe Triv might have a better idea. I know you've seen more of their movies. I don't really know how, in what esteem Blood Red Planet is held in terms of their films.
And generally speaking, I can't say that I've seen it, but I feel kind of like Polonias have kind of gone the same way as Trauma and Full Moon. Like, not that they don't put out some good stuff, but I think by and large, there's more camp blood than there is stuff like Feeders and Blood Red Planet. I've not seen Blood Red Planet, so I can't attest to it one way or the other. But I feel like they go and they say, oh, well, people like this. They'll love this other schlocky thing that we're doing, but they kind of lose track of what makes it, you can't make a cult movie. You can't make a movie that people are going to offhandedly love, that's going to be one that stands the test of time, that stands out from the rest. And I don't know, like I could be wrong, but that's kind of the vibe I get with a lot of Polonia, like modern Polonia stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say I've seen more Mark Polonia solo films than I have the Polonia brothers' works together, but from my experience, probably around the mid-2010s onwards, Mark Polonia became a volume over quality kind of guy. He can still do quality. He did, there was a Camp Blood film that he did, I think it was Camp Blood 7, It Kills. Which is actually surprisingly... Yeah, I just reviewed that on the channel, and it's surprisingly well done for Mark Polonia, which is not quite the backhanded compliment you would think. But I think he very much has to be told to do that, because I think from what I've seen of his work, he's very much in the mindset of get it done next film, get it done next film, get it done next film. And I think if you say to him, this isn't a get it done next film job, this is something I want you to put your quality into, he can still do quite good films.
This is Camp Blood 7. This is a film. This is cinema. You have to take time to craft it.
We slowly turn into the Nicole Kidman AMC advert. We go to movies to watch Mark Polonia, to unwind, to relax.
7 is the lucky number when it comes to most franchises.
Yeah.
Look at Freddy is Dead. Or not Freddy is Dead. What is the seventh?
New Nightmare.
It was
New Nightmare. Yeah. See? There you go. That's
And
all you
then
need to
Friday
know.
the 13th, Part 7. That was
Psychic
Carrie
powers.
versus Jason.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that. Hellraiser 7, that was, that was it Deader?
I think,
The one
I think it might have been the video game one, because 2 of them came out at exactly the same time.
Yeah.
5 was
Yeah.
Inferno, and then I think 6 was Hellseeker, the one where Christie comes back, and then there's Deader and Hellworld, I think, came out at the same time. So it's like, which one really is 7? Is it
my favorite Henry Cavill film? So.
Yeah. Star power
Halloween.
writ large on the screen. Even back then, we knew one day he would be Superman.
When I saw him in Hellraiser Deader, and H20, but I don't talk about H20, so.
Oh, come on.
Nah, not doing it. Not doing it.
Well, what about Star Wars 7? That was a real return to form or something.
Yeah.
Well, did you know that 7 divided by 2 minus 1.5 is 2, which is the number of sequels Feeders has had that we are discussing so far.
Oh my god!
Wow. That's
I
why
did-
he makes the big bucks, folks.
I did want to say, and this is going back just a tiny bit, but talking about the space equipment in this movie as well as the Red Dead Planet. I have such you see that, and like I said, you do point, but there is something so endearing about that. Like you see it in Phobe, you see it in like the original MST Open. Like, they're trying to play it off as, know, deep science equipment. And I don't know. I learned to edit on that stuff. And it just, it does warm the cockles of your cold, dead heart.
Yeah. One thing I've always been curious about, maybe one of you can answer it. I don't work anywhere near any sort of film. I work near a film industry and that there is one in the state that I live in, but I do not work in the film industry. I always wondered, like, when they have panels of lights that aren't made up of actual equipment, how do they, like, what is the job title of the person that is assumedly, like, just soldering LEDs together to make these panels? Like, because a lot of times you'll see it's like, clearly that's not functional, like it has no actual purpose, but there's lights going off and buttons. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So generally on bigger film sets, they'll have their own electrical department and they kind of liaise within the prop department and the sort of lighting and key grip department. So they sort of sit between the two. And if, say, for example, you need a lit up computer console with flashing coloured buttons and stuff like that, the prop department would kind of build the shell of it and then get the electrical department to wire it up so that it was safe and did what it needed to do. Of course, there's multiple layers to that because you can make something look good in a prop shop, but then when you actually take it out to the film set and the actual lighting team start lighting it, it might not look how you wanted it to look, so they have to kind of tweak colours and things like that to make sure that it looks right. But yeah, it's kind of a labour of love between the entire lighting team and the prop companies. Yeah. Unless, of course, you're the Polonia brothers, in which case it's a long weekend and a pack of Miller, so...
And a couple of dozen, 100 sets of blinking light bulb or blinking Christmas lights.
Yeah, so there's that, and another thing I've always wondered about is, especially like 80s sci-fi, you see some sort of graph on a computer screen, or like possibly a moving graphic. Especially back then, it's like it would have been very specialized knowledge to write a program like that. So I've always kind of wondered where those things come from and like what job that is.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the era. So, for example, in the early 80s, a lot of those effects that looked digital would be achieved using things like luminous tape and torches. So, like, for example, Escape from New York, the opening shot with they actually built the city model and just covered it in luminous tape and then turned all the lights off and shone torches on it to kind of light it up so it looked like a grid view as Snake Plissken's flying down. Mm-hmm. Once you got into the later 80s and computer technology actually became sort of cheaper and easier to do, there would usually be somebody sort of deemed visual effects who would literally, their job would be to just make graphics on a ZX Spectrum or Commodore 64 that didn't actually like link to anything. It just was an animation or a graphic, but that was probably later 80s, 86-ish onwards, I would say. So, but yeah. It's a fascinating world out there. There's some very interesting stuff. There's a guy who works for Bleeding Skull. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he curates those graphics. And he's done some interesting compilations if you're into that kind of thing.
Where I am, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, if you, I'll try and find the name for you after the podcast. But yeah, there's a guy who's done a few of them. He's worked with Agfa on a few bits as well to kind of bring some of the more surreal graphics to life. So
yeah, I just want to say shout out to the Sinclair ZX Spectrum Plus 2A, the pinnacle, in my opinion, of computer design. It's a beautiful piece.
Represent.
Absolutely. It's only surpassed by the video toaster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you guys for humoring me and answering these weird questions that don't really relate to this movie at all, but are just sort of things I've always thought about. So let's get into Feeders 2 itself, shall we?
Oh, yes. Let's
Absolutely.
do it.
So in this one, McBride reprises his role from the first movie, but this time it's Mark Polonia rather than John Polonia starring in the film. And for those who don't know, they are identical twin brothers, so it almost doesn't matter. Feeders 2 was written by Mark Polonia, who shared directing duties with his brother. That's about it. And I didn't get any confirmation of this, but I assume the reason it's Mark instead of John in this one is because possibly John didn't have a wife and kids.
There's a good chance of that, I would say.
The script calls for a wife and kids, so they're like, oh, well, it's got to be Mark then.
John's just there like, Mark, I need your wife.
He's like, do you mind if I switch out, kind of get the feel of a wife and kids, and then, I can film with them. We can see how much we can, screw with them. And he's like, no, man, my kids are under the age of 8.
Mark just looks dead serious at John and just goes, I shall be your wife. And it just goes from there.
I mean, the way they were wrestling around in the original Feeders, one could get that impression.
Yeah. So the movie begins with some poorly rendered CGI UFOs arriving on Earth, possibly blowing it up. Question mark.
Well, I think that was at the end. Part of that, at least, was at the end of the original movie. Like you see Derek running down the street, and it's kind of that War of the Worlds, the end is here kind of feel. That was kind of, I assumed that those graphics probably came from the original or were a variation on that at least.
See, I got a bit confused for a second and thought they were just using the Windows 95 Starfield screensaver. And that they just sort of digitally added text to it, basically. But,
you saw a toaster with wings fly by.
Oh man, that would have made this better.
Yeah. So we then hear the voice of Derek, the John McBride character. He's briefly recounting the final events of the first film. His story is being recorded, and he appears to be in a mental hospital of some sort, and his dialogue is barely audible over the Casio synth music playing in the background.
Oh my god, that was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
Adored the music in this film, by the way. It's the best kind of sickly sweet, cheap and tacky MIDI oompa music that I've ever heard, and I just fell in love with it.
It's a carryover from the first one. I guess that's basically, they've used it in the 2 movies so far. That's basically the Feeders theme. I'm a big fan of it.
Agreed. And even some of the Christmas music that comes up later, just fantastic. Just the perfect thing you want from an SOV Christmas horror film, sci-fi film, comedy.
Read like it was a preset song on a keyboard that you just press play on.
Agreed.
So cut to the family of Alan Parker decorating a Christmas tree. Alan is, of course, Mark Polonia. His wife, Bernice, his daughter, and his son are all played by Mark's real-life family. And
the kids are adorable. They're so, throughout this movie, they did catch some incredibly cute shots of them.
Yeah. The little boy is a dead ringer for his father and uncle.
Man.
Draw a mustache and put some glasses on that kid.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I think this is going to be the best Christmas yet.
Wrong. Because the music kicks in and, the Earth is imminently in danger of being taken over by goddamn feeders. And who could have predicted this?
We could have.
Not this film critic, that's for sure. I was in full suspense at this point, hoping for the best Christmas for these guys.
Did you guys get? I just watching Mark Polonia. I could not stop seeing a Napoleon Dynamite character.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's got that vibe.
Like they're so deadpan. The adults are so deadpan in their the way that they say everything. It's just yeah.
If you put some glasses on him, he looks like Uncle Rico.
Oh, totally.
I think for me, one of the more surreal parts of this film isn't so much what they do, it's what they don't do. So, for example, when they're just decorating the tree, they've put seats down for the kids to just sit and watch the parents decorate the tree, and they're just sitting there watching it for ages. I don't know any kid, especially nowadays, that would willingly just sit and watch their parents decorate a Christmas tree for, I don't know, maybe an hour or something. It was... And in silence as well. The fact that they're not really even talking apart from the occasional sort of, this is going to be the best Christmas ever. And then just like, again, elongated silence. Yeah. Then elongated silence. It's just, it hit me straight away with the kind of tone that I look for with these kinds of films, which is good. And another thing I noticed as well by this point in, even this early, is just how much more polished and focused it feels as a work. Compared to the first feeders. And I think the main reason for that is because most of the film takes place in like 2 locations and its surrounding areas, and that's about it. And because the last film was pretty much entirely external, being able to do a film that's entirely internal means that they can do more interesting things with lighting and colour, and the sound quality, when they don't blow it out with music, is a lot stronger. And yeah, it's just across the board. I simultaneously was watching this going, well, it still looks really, really cheap, but it's an absolute, it's like the jump between, stop motion and full-blown 4K CGI compared to the first feeders in terms of the polish that they've managed to do with it. So, but yeah. I
really did appreciate that you were talking about the lighting. Like they do, it's not always the best or the most well done, but they do a lot of mood lighting, and it is effective. It does definitely get across what you're looking for.
Oh yeah, completely agree. And the coloured gel work as well that they do, putting those nice kind of reds contrasting with blues, dark blues, and as you say, using chiaroscuro quite effectively. It feels like they've learnt a lot in the 2 or 3 years since they made the first film.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they made 20 movies in between, so...
That does help. You know what? If you don't get it right on the first one, work on it on the second, or the third, or the eighth.
As Jake from Adventure Time would famously say, when you start something, you'll suck at it, but if you keep doing it, eventually you'll suck less at it. So,
I'm not sure they got better at the aliens.
Yeah.
The tennis ball alien, I love it. It's so goofy, but oh my God. It had teeth this time.
So,
gotta love it.
These feeders, they're in their spaceship built of oscilloscopes and editing equipment. They're headed straight for north central Pennsylvania. We get the title screen, Feeders 2, Sleigh Bells. The music continues to rock over the credits, which take the viewer on a tour of the Parker household and all its festive decorations. And I was completely on board at this point, and was only even more on board when this scene that night happens and the camera is going through the house. Nothing's stirring except for Alan, who is awoken by a bright light outside his bedroom window. What the hell? And he looks out and he sees a UFO, which beams down 3 feeders. That's right, 3. The stakes have never been higher.
Oh my God.
And he sees it and he says,
that was weird. Time to get up from work anyway.
Which is the correct response. This is a man who's probably seen way too much. Is the immediate effect I got off this person. If you could see aliens being beamed down and just be like, anyway, gotta go to the bed. Being said, later in the film you see his boss, and that explains a lot.
It does, very much.
So there is much growling and gnashing of teeth outside the Parker household, but feeders don't really seem to do anything in particular. They sort of just
jiggle.
Yeah, they look at the exterior of the house and run around, and that's about it.
Well, little do you know, they're actually home maintenance people, and they're checking the foundation to see kind of what needs to be done with the house, because they spend a lot of time looking like at the joists in the basement and at the wall in the basement.
They
and,
sure do.
At the furnace in the basement.
Maybe they're mold remediators.
I think so too. And you know what? That's important because you have little kids in that house.
I'll bet you anybody here $20 that the reason why the majority of the film involving the feeders is POV shots of Mark or John Polonia's basement is because they were actually filming it as part of a remodeling job. And they just wanted to find a use for the footage. So
that is fair. They do need to replace those basement windows, though, because if you've got feeders getting into your basement that easily, they're gonna keep expanding and multiplying. They're like rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
So we get on screen December 24th, which I'm now just realizing was a huge thing in the first movie, like date and time. Kind of forgot about that until just now. Alan. It's surprising that I forgot about it because it was so important and crucial to understanding the last film that they constantly put those dates and times. I don't know how I could have possibly let that slip my mind.
You know what? If they had done that in the Camp Blood series, it would be Oscar worthy. That would have made all the difference.
Yeah, I'd have added at least a 1.5 stars onto every single one of them from Letterboxd, and that's, considering some of them are 0.5 star, that'd put them at a solid 1.5 stars, so... They can aim big.
Alan's taking a shower, he's getting ready for work. At least one feeder has made its way into the basement. Alan's blow-drying his hair, the power goes out.
Damn, the fuse box must be on the blink again.
He goes down to the basement. Nothing seems amiss except for, what's this? One of the basement windows is open just a crack, and Alan closes the window, which I guess angers a feeder outside because now it can't get in.
They're confounded by windows.
Yeah,
I love
and
that
doors.
So much. Oh my god, this is where M. Night Shyamalan got the idea for the signs aliens to not be able to open doors.
You heard it here first, folks.
I did also want to say that 90s bathroom, way scarier than anything else in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I just love the idea that we've got these, combat ready, logical thinking, killer aliens invading Earth that can get dumbfounded by a window lock, by pets, and by sort of geographical basement locations. It's quite a wonderful thing, really.
It is. Well, it goes to show their weaknesses and their strengths.
Yeah, so this is 1998, but being that they're in north central Pennsylvania, outside of a major city center, fashion and interior decorating hadn't caught up to the more cosmopolitan parts of the country. So it very much looks like 5 to 10 years before this actually was filmed. The clothing choices are not what I would necessarily call 1998.
No, I don't know that bathrobe thing that the missus was rocking. I mean, that she had the plaid, she just had the wrong kind of plaid.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say the romantic tension between Alan and his wife in this film was palpable at times. As he was heading off to work, I could feel the music stings of a Danielle Steele special slowly creeping in. It was quite wonderful, really.
Oh God, that whole exchange when he's leaving for work, what do you get the woman who has everything?
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Rolf.
So in the kitchen, Bernice is petting the family dog, Lady, who has a cast on its leg. You shouldn't have run out in the road. Alan and Bernice discuss their plans for the day before Alan heads off to work, and as he's walking to the car, he looks up into the sky, mouth agape with a blank expression on his face. Oh well, time to drive to work anyway.
I feel like he steps outside his house and it's like that series of lines he says every single day just because he hates his job so much.
Yeah.
I like to think that it's an allegory for the American salaryman, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. What about the American salaryman? Is it to stay about the same? And are they like Chainsaw Man?
No, Celery Man only has one job, and that is to ensure a healthy colon. So
Okay.
you don't want to watch that movie. That's one for a different podcast. So
Fair. That's fair.
As Alan drives off, the kids are inside fighting. Maybe Santa will bring me some sanity for Christmas. And then the kids just fart. There's like a loud fart sound effect.
The fact that I love the way that one is said. It is just, you can tell the exasperation, but it's done in such a flat tone. I don't know. It's just, again, I was running into Napoleon Dynamite with that one.
I know what you mean. I love the deliveries through this film. Just there are so many wonderful moments where lines that really shouldn't be memorable become memorable. Just how, like, either flat or overly enthusiastic people are in delivering them.
Yeah.
And also a bold choice to use the fart machine sound effects. Again, it's a bold strategy for this entry. Don't know if I'm a fan of it necessarily, but we'll see how things go.
Oh, come on. That brings that scene to life. You know, that is the perfect little exclamation point, you know, or skid mark or something, you know.
True, you quoting Martin Scorsese again.
I am. You know how I am when it comes to Martin Scorsese quotes.
Cinema.
Yes.
So the two feeders who didn't get into the Parker household, they're flying around, presumably looking for something to feed on. They land outside a house. Feeder vision, growling, gnashing of teeth ensues. They get into this house through a garage door and stop briefly to admire a pair of snowmobiles in the garage.
Ooh,
they are quite nice.
This part of the film started to remind me a little bit of the late 80s horror film, The Video Dead. There's a particular scene in there where the zombies from that film start just knocking on neighbors' doors and just attacking them. And I don't know why, whether it was the cine was similar or the lighting or the vibes were just kind of similar, but this bit where they start going into other people's houses and wrecking up the place just kind of gave me that vibe a little bit, which I thought was a nice touch. Don't know if it was intended, but felt nice.
Well, across the board, I think they were just showing off how fancy the house was, and they wanted to make sure that you were aware that, hey, we are paying homage to The Video Dead, but we're also going to show off this bomb-ass house. You know, look at how nice this is. This house could be yours for the low price of $50,000.
I was going to say as well, very bold of them to showcase two locations in their film, given that, like I say, the last film was predominantly shot in field land and I think it wasn't it a bungalow or something?
I think so.
The fact that they got two house locations to work with this time, I was actually quite impressed, honestly.
I mean, there could possibly be three, depending upon where you believe the priest's house was.
Yeah. Inside the house, there's a woman talking on the phone. This woman's acting her ass off. There's also a cat named Fluffy who runs down to the basement. Is promptly eaten by a feeder. The woman hears a strange noise and decides to check it out. She gets to the basement door and says, "You're not supposed to be in the basement, Fluffy," which anyone who has cats knows that isn't how it works. If you don't want cats in the basement, you keep the door closed.
Yeah. I will say this is probably one of my favourite scenes in the film. I don't think it's my favourite scene, but it is definitely in the top 2 or 3 favourites for that actress's delivery choices and the expert CGI work on the cat mutilation. Which again, I don't think can be faulted. The fact that they hold on it for so long shows that they were clearly proud of their works, and I agree.
Oh, yeah. I would also say it's so interesting between that shot and damn near every exterior that's not in the downtown. It's all freeze frames.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's probably because the actual footage that they had was maybe too shaky or something. Maybe they were trying to do it handheld, so they just put it into an editor and just took a still and went, "That'll do," and just shoved it out that way. Yeah.
So feeders kill the woman. Bernice is trying to call this woman at the same time, but there's no answer, and she's just like, she must be shopping. Cool. Kids are looking out the window in search of Santa, but they don't see Santa. They just see an elf, in quotes, wandering around the yard, and the elf is, of course, a feeder. And so this scene of these kids looking out the window, at one point, the little boy kisses his sister on the shoulder, which is just an extremely like natural, like obviously he wasn't told to do that because that's just like too weird. If he was told, if he was given directions, it wouldn't be kiss your sister on the shoulder.
No.
So this is just like an actual moment caught on film of this family, which is kind of, it's endearing on one hand, but it's also my main problem with this film is that a lot of it is just kind of a home movie of the Polonia family doing very mundane Christmas things.
It is an interesting film in that respect because you do, for all of the things that have yet to come and the kind of crazy over the top pieces, you're right. There is like the whole scene where they're like, you know, showering or like wrapping Christmas presents or, you know, like pecking away on the computer. The amount of fill in this, and this is only an hour 15, I think.
Yeah, an hour and 13 minutes, 40 seconds.
Thank you for the precise number.
Mine's 1:12:11, so
oh my God.
I'm missing a minute and 30 seconds.
That minute and 30 seconds is definitely...
You must have had the NTSC re-encoding. I was watching it in PAL, so...
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that you're missing a whole minute and a half of things being wrapped and kids farting.
Damn. So we cut to a random church. And these exterior shots, it's really hard to tell because the quality is so low. I couldn't tell if it was just fisheye or if also these are like a building composited onto a background. It's all very odd looking. The architecture style combined with the mountainous semi-forested. Did either of you guys think that this town just looks really weird?
It is janky.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I saw that shot, I thought that what they'd probably done is taken a picture of a church from their local area, cropped it out of the picture and kind of overlaid it over maybe a mountainous backdrop or something to kind of give it a bit of depth. But that's a big chunk of what I really, really love about this film is, and the word I wrote in my notes for it is ethereal. The whole film feels like the whole film feels like I'm watching a standard SOV film. That's the pull
quote on the DVD.
Yeah.
Ethereal TYTD reviews.
It feels like I'm watching a standard sort of sci-fi horror SOV film slowly morph into abstraction across the hour and 13. It's a very surreal experience, and it just gets weirder and weirder. The closest I can kind of liken it to is they recently tried to create images that are supposed to represent what your brain processes your vision as when you've had a stroke. And this film is the closest I can probably describe to that.
Weirdly, that's also a pull quote.
The closest you'll come to a stroke, TYTD. Yeah, it's
ethereal. The closest you'll come to a stroke.
It's just such a bizarre looking film because the quality is there for so much of it. And then it will just randomly kind of drift off into this, as you say, mundane setting of a family decorating a Christmas tree or a priest wandering around in a cellar or a weird composite cat or a weird composite church or Santa. It's just such a strange thing. It's bizarre to say the least because they have such long periods when nothing really happens and then something totally out of left field will happen and everybody just kind of goes, and then carries on with whatever's going on. It's baffling and I absolutely love it for that quality of just strangeness. Just unwavering strangeness.
Your comment about American salarymen, this may be a deeper and more this may just be a deeper film than I had imagined because it is sort of the state of the world today in America.
Oh yeah.
Everything's fucking weird, crazy shit's going on, but health insurance is tied to a job, so you just look up and say, "Oh well, gotta go to work anyway."
I was going to say the whole subplot of Feed Us 2 is that Alan isn't sure if he's going to be able to get his kids Christmas presents because he's not sure if his boss is going to be able to get the money together to pay him. So I don't know, maybe if we go deep enough, there may actually be elements to my salaryman allegory joke that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the economy was like in 1998, Pennsylvania. Probably not good because it's Pennsylvania, but...
Oh, these were the golden times in America. This was...
Yeah, it was better than it was for a long time.
These were the Clinton years, right before 9/11, before 2008, and all the next 12 horrible things that have happened since then.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I had two things. One was with the idea of, like, being the sequel from the first film. What if Alan Parker is actually like, and the kids don't really work for the age thing, but what if, like, Alan Parker is like the alien that survived, like, his initial abduction?
And
the
plot thickens.
Yeah, and I had a thing on the other side of it, and I can't. Oh, like, you look at modern times and stuff. What you were saying, Chris, about, like, you look at all the weird stuff that happens, and you just kind of look at it and go, oh, because what can you do about it? When back in 2020, was it 2020 or 2021, where they, like, the CIA came out and said, oh yeah, aliens exist, and people just kind of looked at each other and went, nah, and got on with it. That's kind of what's happening,
Yeah, gotta go to work anyway.
I can see it. Maybe it's like a Twin Peaks The Return type thing, and they basically, like, cloned him or something and just set him loose in Pennsylvania as, like, a recon scout or something, and they've technically coming back to reclaim him or something.
Well, they did clone him at the end of the first one, and then John McBride decided to kill one without determining which was the real one.
And he killed the wrong one, so...
Yep.
They had enough clone back to left over, they just pressed another one.
So... inside this church that we were talking about before we all got sidetracked, there's a priest in this church. Who'da thunk? He's reading the Bible, as priests often do. He decides to go up to the attic to get a cardboard box full of paint or varnish or something, and then take that box down to the basement, and he steps in what I can only assume is feeder shit, which he traces back to an ominous hole in the basement wall.
Never noticed it before, though, clearly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this...
Or maybe he did and was just like, well, better go to work.
Did you notice, too, he was reading the page, like, he was confused by the pages he was reading? Like, he kept, like, going backwards in the Bible when he was reading the pages.
Maybe he just got to the part where Jesus resurrected and he was like, what? He had to go read the previous chapters to make sure he knew what he had to reorient himself.
This didn't happen this way in Mark. Why is it happening this way in John?
And so we go back to the Parker household. We get some more home movie footage of the kids wrestling and playing with wrapping paper. And the mom is like, hey, kids, how about a cartoon? So I was wondering, Dan, since you cover Christmas children cartoons often and thoroughly every December, did you recognize this?
I did not, although I am going to start trying to hunt it down, and when I do find it, I will review it probably, and I'll cite this film as the inspiration for checking it out. I was actually a little disappointed because when the mum said, hey kids, do you want to watch a cartoon? Having watched so many episodes of Pee-wee's Playhouse, I had been fully brainwashed into believing that it was going to just cut to a Fleischer cartoon for 10 minutes to pad the runtime.
It did have the look of something Fleischer-esque, like not necessarily Fleischer, but it did sort of, it looked like the creepy, like where Santa is like talking to Rudolph, is what I guess that is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I think that might have been a Fleischer one. It did sort of look like that a little bit.
Yeah, funnily enough, actually, I haven't gone through it yet. I'm hoping to do it this Christmas with my partner who's a massive Fleischer fan. I've got a great big box set of Fleischer cartoons that, bizarrely, I ordered from Troma Entertainment about 4 years ago because they had like a sub-label that sold public domain things. And there's quite a few Christmas shorts on there, so I'll have to have a look and see if I can maybe hunt it down. Because it could be a part of that set, honestly, especially if they're, I don't know how close to copyright law the Polonias want to stay, but I imagine that if they were at least somewhat wary of it, they might have used a public domain short as the cartoon the kids were watching to try and avoid any kind of litigation. So,
like I say, just the quality of the thing that they were watching, and it's hard to tell because it was filming the actual screen, but it did have a Fleischer quality to it.
Yeah.
So we finally meet back up with Alan. He's at work. He's an insurance salesman who works out of a utility closet or something. He's typing away at his computer, but he just can't shake the strange sighting he had in the wee hours of the morning. So he goes to net search and types UFOs.
Perfect.
And
if UFOs apostrophe S.
Yes. And prominently, like, I feel like there's something on the screen that says MU Cybrarian, which to me seems like a website for a university. And it's kind of one of those things. It's like in 1998, they probably didn't think anything of it. But if you were to make this movie today, you wouldn't be like logging into your university's website and filming it on screen because you're afraid someone's going to dox you.
MU would probably be Millersville University, Pennsylvania. So, go Millersville.
Yep, we just doxed the Polonias.
Quick, someone invent a time machine. We'll get it.
If they're not doxed by this point, they're doing pretty damn well.
Yeah. So he goes to the website and he says he finds something that says hundreds of thousands of people every year claim to see UFOs or see beings from another planet. U.S. government flatly denies the existence of aliens, friendly or otherwise. And unfortunately for Alan, as he's reading this out loud for whatever reason, his boss, Mr. Hatton, overhears this.
Parker, what do aliens have to do with insurance claims anyway?
Nothing, sir.
That's right, you stupid son of a bitch! Get back to work or spend the new year on the unemployment line!
Yes, Mr. Hatton. Merry Christmas.
I hate Christmas! And you're not leaving early either!
I mean, how would you describe this guy?
He stepped straight out of a John Waters movie. He just turns up and just immediately starts abusing him and just doesn't stop. Like, it's the kind of unbridled rage where you expect two security guards at the end of the scene to come and drag him away to stop him from just grabbing the nearest blunt object. What a scene. Again, it's moments like that that make me say that this is ethereal. It just swings so violently from a kind of passive, oh, well, there's some aliens killing some people, but that's kind of that's a B plot to the Christmas plot.
But is it a B plot?
Well, the pendulum swings back and forth so violently between just completely crazy random happenings, and aggression. And then somewhere in the middle of this pendulum is the Polonius having Christmas. It's just a surreal moment in every way. A perfect tribute to David Lynch and his film career.
Yeah, and at the end of this exchange with Mr. Hatton yelling at Alan at some point he's like,
I better get back to work.
You asshole. You better!
and it's like he's going so hard. It seems like he's trying not to laugh in the middle of it. It's very, but also combined with like over the top anger. It's very funny.
It's kind of like Cameron Mitchell. When he played, I don't remember the movie, but he talks about needing a Tums Festival because he's like the angry police chief.
That doesn't narrow it down at all.
No,
That's fair. Did you guys get the sense, like, and this is such a small bit of the entire movie, but they were kind of going like playing Hatton as like Ebenezer Scrooge, just because like that one little bit, like all the stuff that relates to Alan's work is kind of like a Christmas Carol type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, this is he is like he paraphrases Christmas Carol when he does that line about unemployment line.
See, I was thinking of the bad guy in It's a Wonderful Life. I can't remember what his name is.
Oh, Potter.
Yeah, Mr. Potter. That was the kind of vibe I was getting. But again, Mr. Potter as written by John Waters.
Performed by this guy who presumably, I didn't look into it, I feel like he's probably has not been in any other movie. I feel
I would agree.
80% confident saying that.
Yeah, but what an opening role, you know? Credit where credit's due.
Well, he did get like one of the bigger credits at the open. You know, they said, Poloni brothers, the wife, the kids, and then it was, I think, this guy.
Oh, yeah. So they did that with another person in the first feeders, the guy that's like the park ranger that sees the comet.
That's
He was
right.
like top billed, and I looked it up and he was in nothing else. So maybe this is that exact same situation.
Well, they saw Clint Eastwood playing the lab tech in the one, what movie was it in the 60s or 50s?
Revenge of the Creature
Walks.
Yeah, one of those. And they're like, okay, well, this guy is going to be the next Clint Eastwood, so we need to make sure and give him top billing.
See, I just like to think that the Polonia brothers adhere to socialist principles in which a system does not have leaders or top billing. We're all equal.
So back at the house, the kids are pretty bored. They conk out during the climax of the cartoon and cut to more home movie footage. Bernice is wrapping presents, and the Polonia brothers make sure that we see the whole process of wrapping gifts, soup to nuts. Someone's getting Yahtzee for Christmas.
She wanted to make sure that you saw that she took a class on wrapping a gift properly. And she was getting the money's worth out of that, because that class was like $15 at the local YMCA.
I was going to say, in fairness, they could have cut those bits out separately, put a bit of music over the top of them, and you would have had a perfect self-help video. Presents and you, a wrapping guide.
Yeah, they were the most perfectly wrapped presents I've ever seen.
So she's upstairs. The kids are asleep. There's two of these friggin' feeders in the basement. And Triv mentioned this earlier, is that there's like a new feeder design. There's one original feeder and then two like way shittier feeders.
And the way shittier feeders are the ones that seem to get the most screen time.
Yeah.
I think it was probably because they couldn't find the original feeder, so they had to remake the feeders from memory, but they also, for some reason, didn't have a copy of feeders. So they just literally just had to sit and make a new feeder based on what they remembered it kind of looking like.
Yeah, they did the stroke brain filter.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Basically. It's what I'm talking about. Every time something new pops up, I'm immediately caught with a what? And then I just kind of go, oh, okay, fine. Okay, this is where it's going. Okay. Break out the rum nog. Here we go.
Yeah, Dan's going to restart his channel as Salaryman.
So these feeders, they start to go upstairs, but the dog lady, she sees the feeders and begins to bark. It's obvious the way that this shot of the dog barking is framed is that someone has their hand just out of frame, pushing the dog's head up and down to make it look like it's barking.
That poor dog. It broke its poor leg or whatever, and it's like, it ends up in the basement, and oh man, I feel so bad for it.
Yeah, and so this alerts Bernice. The feeders run back into the basement giggling. I was getting kind of a gremlin-y vibe at this point in the movie from the way that they're trying to present these feeders, combined with the Christmas thing.
Absolutely. I think that I'm getting Gremlins and Critters vibes with them. I think they in that regard, I think they do an all right job. This is going to sound bizarre. I just wish I knew the motivation of the feeders. You know what I mean? I know that they're there to feed, but why? Because
why
as it stands,
here specifically?
Well, exactly. This is the thing, I mean, like with Gremlins and with Critters, they kind of at least establish why the Gremlins and the Critters are there and what they are into and what they can do and what they can't do. The feeders, we don't really learn a lot about them other than they feed and they sort of bobble about. And apparently they really love a POV shot. But that's about it.
They also giggle like schoolgirls.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It'd just be nice to know a bit more about our antagonists for the film beyond they're here and they're hungry.
Well, give them time, because Feeders 3 might be their origin story. It could be a prequel.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have no idea how many more times this story is going to fold in on itself by the time we get to the end of the third movie.
Oh, yeah.
So we go back to the priest who's reading the Bible again and again. He goes down into the church basement and again he checks out the hole in the wall. And as he's doing this, a feeder sneaks up behind him and begins feeding. And we're next taken on a tour of beautiful Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, as Alan drives home from work. This was, if I remember correctly, this was the town had Christmas decorations, so they at least made sure to film this part during the winter.
Which was a nice touch. It really helped to something the season.
Did you just yada yada the Christmas season?
In a manner of speaking.
Yeah. So as he's driving, the feeder who just killed the priest is standing on the side of the road. Alan, oblivious to the feeder, speeds past the alien, which kicks up a mound of snow onto the feeder. In the process, hilarious. 5 stars.
Very unexpected.
No notes.
He gets home. He finds his children in the dining room. Son is playing with dinosaurs, and daughter is making her Christmas wish list for Santa. Alan heads upstairs to check on the missus, who says she's finally finished wrapping presents. She's been doing it for 8 hours the whole time he's been gone.
That's just her job. Her daily job is just wrapping presents.
Bizarrely, though, it was only one present, so... Yeah.
And then Alan is telling Bernice about the strange lights he saw last night, and much along the lines of what Dan was saying earlier, we get a quote that perfectly sums up this movie, which was,
It was too surreal to be a dream, but too unreal to be believable.
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree.
And the main feeder is still flying around in search of food. He happens upon a guy working late at the AA box pallet warehouse. The feeder beams down and makes quick work of the random man. How would you guys describe this little detour, I guess, from the story? Because this has nothing to do with anything else.
This is one of the only elements that I don't enjoy about this film as much as the other bits and pieces is it feels like there are points in this film where they put all the footage together and realised they were maybe 20 minutes short. So they just then started thinking, okay, well, what if we add a scene here? What if we add a scene there? And I don't know, for me, those moments, like the one you've just described, they just kind of didn't do as much for me. It felt like a little bit forced to just get him in, which again really helps the ethereal bizarreness of it all. But I just kind of, when it got to the moments like that, I was kind of like, oh, okay, we're doing another padding scene while they add an extra 5 minutes onto the runtime to get it to feature length. Okay, I can do this. And then it'd get back to the crazy for a bit, and then there'd be another one, and I'd go, oh, okay, another 5 minute, wrapping presents, priest in the basement scene. Okay, we'll do that. And then
that's such a well-known stereotype or well-known trope is the wrapping presents priest in the basement thing.
Well, I've actually been catching up on your American colloquialisms, and having a priest in the basement is another word for visiting the bathroom, so I've heard. So, guys, I got to run. I got a priest in the basement, and he's knocking on the door.
But yeah, it is like, it's like it follows that Roger Corman principle of like every 15 minutes we need to have nudity or like a kill.
That's true.
But it's in this movie, it's like they heard that, but they didn't really take it to heart. They just, very face value, because it's like, yes, we have something happening every X amount of time, but this is completely just stitched in. Like it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. So it's very odd.
Yeah. There's a difference between knowledge and application. And it feels like they knew that Corman did this, but they didn't really know how to apply that.
I kind of got the sense too with because there are, you get the lady with the cat, you got the priest, and you've got this guy that's also looking to embezzle money. Like they needed those little side gigs, like you say, but it seems like every single one of them, like, I don't know. I think I probably ascribed more to these guys than I should have. But like you had the cat, she called her cat Fluffernutter, which, is a cardinal sin when you have cats. You had the priest that was maybe like trying to figure out the Bible and couldn't quite figure it out. So he goes to, piss off and go find, a hole in his basement. And then you get this guy embezzling money. So I don't know, like you had so many of those little random kills in the first one that were just kind of like, because, the Polonias stumble upon Bernice's doppelganger and the other chick. You've got like the vet guy, like that's kind of where I sit.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There are just like random kills in the first one, but I feel like this one, the reason it gets muddled and confusing is because at a certain point in this, they establish that basically the feeders are hovering over this city in their UFO, I guess, and just beaming down to random places.
I think they were bored. They just like, well, we can't find a place to park that is adequate, because it's not, a great area of town. Let's just go, I'll drop you off. You go grab a bite. We'll zoom you back up. We're going to let the next one go down. Okay, you go ahead and destroy Fluffernutter and, her owner, which, clearly called her Fluffernutter without reason. And then, we'll go from there.
Yeah. I mean, it could have worked like if they had established the geography of this town and where these places are in relation to one another. Like if the feeders are on a path from A to B, it's just like, but they don't do that. So it's just like, oh, well, church, basement, presents.
And I'm expecting you to, in your next review, somehow work in, I've got a priest in the basement. Excuse me for a second.
I'll see what I can do.
So we finally make it to Christmas Eve. Back at the Parker house, the basement feeders inspect the ductwork and the knob and tube wiring. This shit isn't up to code, and for that, the Parkers must pay. Alan leaves a glass of milk and what appears to be 3 burnt Italian meatballs on the banister for Santa. He puts the kids to bed and heads back downstairs. And while Bernice puts the presents under the tree, Alan treats himself to some milk and meatballs.
I mean, that must be a classic Western Pennsylvania thing, because I've never heard of leaving those.
I like the detail of them being burnt. I like to think that they'd basically only got enough materials to make one set of meatballs, and they got distracted with the ping pong ball feeder puppets. And they were like, okay, well, this will have to do, because I'm not buying any more ground beef.
So Bernice goes down to the basement to collect the remaining presents, which she has hidden on a shelf, all the while she's being stalked by a feeder. Alan comes down to help her, and the feeder lunges at Alan, but knocks itself out on a piece of wood jutting out from the shelf. And they see this unconscious feeder and conclude it must be one of the kids' dolls, and the feeder wakes up and farts for some reason before following them upstairs and murdering. Yeah. And so here's where he possibly murders the family dog, but possibly doesn't. Unclear.
It's a weird scene.
I still think it's kind of crazy to me that at this point we are probably about 45 to 50 minutes in to a hour and 12, hour and 13 long film. And we've been with this family for that full duration, and the feeders have only now been directly viewed by them in a way that they cannot just go, oh, well, better go to work. We've got about 20 to 25 minutes in film left. And we're not even at the point yet where the feeders finally reveal themselves to the family as being aliens. Mm-hmm. And I just, again, it was at this point that I kind of had to stop and take stock of what I had seen up to this point and what I was expecting. Because, I don't know, maybe I was expecting too much to have a film where it was a family fighting feeders for an hour. But you know what? Good things come in small packages, and I think as we head towards the final act, more interesting things will present themselves. And do they? Because it's at this point that Santa Claus enters the picture. We see him driving his sleigh across the snowy white sky, but he's being followed by the feeder spaceship. And Alan and Bernice have a very odd conversation on the couch. She asks, do you believe in Santa? And he's like, I don't know. I used to when I was a kid, but I stopped believing a long time ago. And I found this very odd the first time I watched this film. Kind of makes more sense once you know what happens. But before you see the end of this movie, I just found it very weird that they're having this very matter-of-fact conversation about believing whether or not they believe in Santa. It feels almost like they knew that they wanted to put Santa in the film, and they filmed all of the bits, including Santa, and then when they put it together, they realised that it was a bit weird that Santa just turns up and everyone just kind of accepts it. So I think they had to retroactively go back and insert a scene where they kind of go, do you believe in him? I don't know. Because otherwise, Santa turning up and everybody just going, oh, Santa, cool, let's do it. It would have worked in Feeders 2, but in the minds of the Polonias, it wouldn't have. So, I understand why it's there, but yeah, in context, it's a very strange thing. Also, can I give bonus points to the Santa sleigh model shot?
Oh,
which,
it's fantastic.
when it first popped up on screen, I had to pause the film and just compose myself after a solid minute of wheezing, and then go and stand out and look out of my window into the inky darkness and the frost, because I could not quite believe what I was seeing.
And then you said, oh, well, got to go to work anyway.
Yeah.
Now, were you more, did you wheeze more at the Santa model or at the ping pong ball alien?
Oh, Santa model. That Santa model, if I could get a GIF of it, I'd be using it all through Christmas. I would just, every day I would be posting it on Discord, I'd be sharing it with friends. Steam would get it just spam posted everywhere, because I think the thing I love about it the most is it looks almost like it's been diffused through different colour lights to kind of give it a golden quality, but the fact that they don't gently buffer the sleigh so that it looks like it's nicely travelling, they full on rock that shit left and right violently. Even before the feeders enter the picture with Santa, it looks like his sleigh is the most uncomfortable breakneck ride you could possibly go on. And I loved it for that. It looks so tatty and cheap and just bizarre that I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I was grateful that they showed it multiple times, because they must have been proud of it too, and they had every right to be.
It needed Benny Hill music.
It did. It did. But we can't all be perfect, Trev.
Yeah.
I know. I understand that. It's a burden that I bear.
So Bernice, she says that she can give Alan his Christmas present now to run upstairs to fuck. And at the same time, Santa and his elves and reindeer are being brutally attacked by the feeders, and Santa crashes in the Parkers' backyard. And so this is because of the structure of the movie up to this point, I had assumed that Santa, much like the priest or the guy at the box warehouse, was just a funny aside that they were doing. But, oh no, it intersects with the plot of the movie in a big way, which I was not expecting. But then, as we were talking earlier, it makes that conversation about asking whether or not they believe in Santa Claus make a lot more sense.
Also, I love the line, out of nowhere, hey, you want your Christmas pudding? Uh-huh. And he's like, feet don't fail me now. And it is the most out of left field statement. And it's said with such gusto out of a character that has been very flat to this point. I laughed my ass off at that.
He's a passionate man.
Oh, well, when it comes to Christmas, I tell you, he likes his puddings. Well, he doesn't say puddings. I'm just inserting that for posterity or something.
So we actually, now at this point, finally go back to John McBride, who recounts the story of the first film for about 8 minutes. What did you guys think about this?
Two things. One, I love the fact that his character and that scenario is completely detached from the actual film, from start to finish. And at this point, that was when I realised, oh, okay, he's not turning up in the main plot. He is somewhere else, completely removed, and is just doing this for a reason. Which I had a real appreciation for the fact that they did that. Again, this also falls into that category of, I think they put the initial footage together and realised they were very, very short, so they had to just shove as much in as possible. But when he popped up again, I was kind of like, okay, he's back. And then I realised, oh, okay, so this isn't going to have any bearing on the main plot at all. They are literally they just had him in to recount the first film for a little bit of added context, but nothing else.
I just kind of assumed that that was the actual Bernice and Alan having fun times. I just assumed that they were watching that while they were getting it on.
Oh, cool. Feeders is on.
Honey, you have to make it go for 8 minutes. Oh, okay, let's do it.
This was in a normal movie. In most instances, you'd be like, yeah, this is incredibly lazy to just have 8 minutes of recap from the first movie, which I'm not going to say this isn't lazy, but I did find it pretty effective, at least for what they were going for, with just the music that was going on, the sort of sepia tone that they put over it. It was very much like an episode of Unsolved Mysteries when the person who it happened to is recounting. I actually I hate to say that this was probably my favorite part of the movie, was the first movie. And it is like also very much, this is Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Someone's in a mental institution while we watch clips from the first movie.
You know, I hadn't thought of that, but now that you mention it, that suddenly makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and this is a 72-minute movie where 16 to 20 minutes of it are credits and John McBride explaining the first movie, so...
You wait till the third film when it's John McBride now recapping John McBride then recapping the first Feeders film. That's...
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
All the circles form a square, my friend.
Nice. I was reading quite a few reviews that were talking about, like, because this is technically listed as a horror movie in some respects, and they talked about how, like, John McBride is probably the best actor out of all of these, and he plays it very well. Like, he does. If you just saw this bit, you would feel like you were watching a horror movie because he does recount it in a way that is very realistic.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've read this, but in an interview I read with him a long time ago, he did say, like, he had a recurring role on a soap opera for a while.
Ah.
So he is, like, if not a trained actor, at least, has the muscle memory of acting. He plays one
on TV.
Yeah, he has the experience. There are times, like, particularly his opening scene in this movie where you can tell, like, it's improv because he's just sort of rambling. And then at a certain point, he's like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to tell you. And then he just says everything he just said over again. So you can tell, like, oh yeah, there's not actually a script for this movie, but he's doing the best he can. So after that extended detour, we're back to the Parker household, and the Feeders are wandering around the basement again, noticing a bit of a pattern here.
It's a lovely basement.
Yeah. They finally muster up the courage to go to the main part of the house, where they proceed to fuck up the Christmas tree and all of the other decoration. Again, gremlin stuff. This one definitely veers more overtly comedic than the first one.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. It's definitely got a tongue-in-cheek element that the first film was a lot more subtle with.
And those aliens, after, imbibing Fluffy, they act like cats around a Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm. And daughter is looking out the window. She sees Santa passed out in the backyard. Alan steps out of his room to investigate, but he's greeted by two Feeders. He manages to throw one back out into the holiday. I don't know why I wrote that. He managed to throw one probably basement is what I meant, but I was too much in the Christmas spirit. He locks the doors and he says, they're not elves, they're monsters or creatures or something.
Did you guys notice that Alan calls Bernice Mary?
No, I didn't catch that, know. Actually.
I have it written down, and I don't remember exactly when it was that he called her Mary, but I think that's the actress's name.
Yeah, she's credited as Maria Humes.
Okay.
So I would imagine Mary Polonia is her real name.
Quite possibly, yeah. Or some variation on that.
Well, they had to keep the budget low because they'd spent all their money on ground beef and insulation foam to make the Feeders puppets, so they didn't have enough budget to do a retake on that one. So
yeah, that makes sense.
And Bernice / Mary tries to call the police, but the phone lines are down. But conveniently, the Feeders retreat back downstairs for some reason into the basement, their natural habitat. That gives Alan just the window he needs to go downstairs and into the kitchen to grab a knife. A Feeder lunges at Alan, but he impales it with the knife, and he goes outside to rescue Santa Claus. And once Alan is able to get Santa inside, he tries to take Santa's beard off, and Santa is like,
"Oh, that's real, Alan!"
He's got a very fucking weird voice for Santa.
I couldn't help but think of Bobcat Goldthwait.
See, it's probably a sign of the times, but in my mind, I just immediately, from this point right up until basically about 3 or 4 minutes off the end, it just felt like I was watching an extended Nostalgia Critic sketch. Like, it just the sort of Channel Awesome vibes were very strong from here on in. It was just like self-aware nods to the camera and Santa being very Santa-y, but not very Santa-y. And again, it all ties back to my key belief that this is a wonderful example of Dadaist, surrealist cinema. But yeah, from this point on, I just kind of was like, you know what? Okay, fine. If it wants to be like a little sketch show for 10-15 minutes until the end, fine. We'll do this. Why not make it Santa with Die Hard? That'll work well, I think.
Yeah, so Santa's real. He's pissed. And I can't remember the exact line that Santa says while he's talking to Alan about what he's going to do about these feeders. I think he says, like, I've flown through blizzards or something like that, but it sounds like he says, I've fucked blizzards, which is like actually a really like badass thing for an action movie hero to say. I've fucked blizzards.
I wouldn't mess with anybody who made that claim, honestly.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. And the fact that it's a Casio keyboard version of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies underneath it, I love that so much.
Oh, yeah.
Santa rubs his nose, he disappears, and during this, the UFO beams down more feeders, and they're all inside the house, and one is about to attack Alan again. And this is the worst Christmas I've ever had. Merry Christmas, bulb head. And just as it appears to be lights out for Alan, Santa rematerializes with a laser gun. And this was, did either of you recognize this laser gun prop?
I can't say it did.
It looked familiar, but I couldn't place it.
Yeah,
it
so
did look familiar, though.
I looked it up because I'm fairly certain my grandparents had this in their basement left over from like an uncle of mine when he was a kid. But this was called the Kusan Sonic Phaser, a toy from 1979. So not important in any way. It's just like I immediately recognized this thing on screen when I saw it. So I was wondering if either of you did.
No, I'm not sure if it made it overseas to here, but I think I've seen it in another SOV film somewhere. It did look very strikingly familiar.
So Santa makes his way through the house, annihilating the aliens with his sonic phaser before heading outside to finish off the rest of them. But the UFO is still hovering outside. This is a special present. Only the naughtiest people get it. He sends the present onto the spaceship, which I guess blows up the spaceship. All you have to do is believe.
I am Santa, harbinger of death.
Yeah, at this point, they're kind of just throwing out non sequitur things that have been said or commented on about in other Christmas movies.
Hasta la vista, baby.
There's a little question mark at the end of that one there, Triv. Hasta la vista, baby? At the point where the present got beamed up in my notes, I literally just wrote, never has a film given so much so sparsely with so little.
Alan wakes up in his bed. It's Christmas morning. He can't be sure if all that Santa Claus feeder business was just a dream. He looks out the window. No signs of any feeders. He checks in on daughter and son. They're fast asleep in their beds. The tree, the living room, all the decorations are in perfect order. Was it all just a dream? December 25th, Christmas Day. The dog is barking. The children are playing with their new toys. Here's the last present. It's yours. I wonder what it is. You already know what it is. It's a fucking feeder. Credits. Feeders too.
Dum, dum, dum.
What a movie. What a movie. Just, yeah. I mean, I'm never usually a big fan of the open to audience interpretation style endings. Also, given that this universe has a Santa, I'm not entirely sure what Alan did to piss him off, that he would gift wrap a feeder for him. Unless the feeders did it, but that wouldn't make sense because they haven't got dexterity-driven fingers, so how did they, like, wrap presents and get the sticky tape and all that sort of stuff working? It's logistical questions that are probably going to be answered in Feeders 3.
Well, we haven't seen the feeders queen yet.
No.
True.
No, we haven't. But yeah, no, I as soon as the credits rolled on this, my thoughts on it were pretty much made up, which was that I love this film. I loved it so much. It's such a weird, goofy, simultaneously low budget but high production quality attempt at a film. And yeah, it's got some bits that drag, and yeah, it's got some padding that I wasn't a great big fan of, but for every 5-minute random drive through Pennsylvania, there was moments like Santa just randomly destroying feeders, or just random one-liners that would just pull me back in with, I'm sorry, what? Level kind of confusion. The visuals are bizarre, to say the least. The pacing is lumpy as porridge. It's just a hell of a watch. And I could quite easily see myself pouring myself an ice-cold Jägermeister on a cold Christmas week when I'm on vacation and spinning Feeders 2. It's just got that right kind of vibe for a couple of nice drinks and a nice warm blanket around Christmas time.
Yeah, I remember looking at your letterbox when you posted about Feeders 2, and you are very thorough in the way you go through stuff, and the 4-star rating, I can see it just because you are such a fan of SOV, and this one is custom built for you, definitely. I can't say that I have quite the love of this one as I do for the first one, but having read that before I went back and watched this definitely made me kind of reevaluate some of the, I guess, not issues, because this isn't a movie where you really have issues or not issues. I think one you're either going to very much enjoy on whatever level, or you're going to go, this isn't for me. I think I'll, kind of avoid Feeders 3, which obviously, we're not going to do that.
No.
But yeah, no, I have a lot of enjoyment of this from the production perspective, all the little goofy bits, just the tonal, just disparities between what's happening on screen and just the flat reads, the whole, like any good SOV, if it can pull out that, that's why you don't turn off movies until they're over, because you never know what's going to happen in that last 5 minutes. And there's a lot of movies that are made or broken in that time. And this movie is certainly, there's other good stuff too, but that last 5 minutes definitely makes Feeders 2. So yeah, I'm with you generally. I don't think I don't hold it as quite a high regard, but I do enjoy this for what it is.
Yeah,
Can I?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say as well, can I also just say the absolute menace that Wild Eye have done. Wild Eye currently own the licensing for Feeders 1 and 2 for streaming. The absolute menace that they have unleashed by redesigning the Feeders and Feeders 2 posters to make them look like Alien knockoffs with proper CGI Feeders. I just feel so sorry for anyone who's flicking through Tubi who isn't into this kind of thing, who sees those posters and goes, okay, an alien horror film that was kind of spooky, set at Christmas, very seasonal, clicks on it and gets this. Just unbelievable.
I feel like anyone that's clicking on Feeders is knowing what they're getting into in some way, shape, or form. Even just the term sleigh bells, if you're at all into any of this stuff, I don't think you fall down these rabbit holes. You may not know what Feeders is, but if you're coming down Tubi and running across something like that, you have a base idea of what you're getting into. But like I say, the term sleigh bells alone gives you that notion.
I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know if you've seen the poster that Wild Eye have put.
Oh no,
put
I am well. I am well versed in that particular poster. I used it on there when I reviewed it, so well versed. It is such a. You look at the Feeders 1 poster, and then you look at the Feeders 2 poster. Even in the redesigned version, there's no way you're talking. I had to go and double check to make sure that I was on the right set of Feeders movies. Yeah. But I definitely knew when you see it, okay, Poloni Brothers, okay, got it, good, go. That's any of these low budget, Christmas horror or any kind of horror movies. Look at Asylum, some of the things that they pull out. My God.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same. True. Yeah, you could do a whole podcast based around what you see versus what you see.
Yeah. So I think I definitely align a lot more with Triv on this one than you, Dan. I like the first one a lot more. This one just had way too much this is home movie footage. I'm sure it's awesome for the Polonias to go back and watch this and reminisce on their lives. For someone who's not related to them and isn't them, not really that exciting to watch Mary Polonia wrap presents for 5 minutes. I think there are some things in here that work pretty well. The flashback sequence, I enjoyed that. His boss great. Just, and as Triv was saying, like some of the line deliveries, but I feel like this is sort of starting to veer into the vein of low budget cinema that I don't like. This is getting more into like snakes on a train. We're making a bad movie on purpose. We're self-aware about that territory. It's not completely there, but it's definitely leaning more in that direction than I feel like Feeders or even Blood Red Planet, which came out 2 years after this, is. That's just more of the vibe I was getting. I feel like being more overtly comedic is part of the reason that this movie gives me that feeling, because I feel like most of the comedy in the first one pretty unintentional. But I don't know. This one didn't really do it for me as much as the first. There are some things that work about it, but overall, I'm a Feeders 1 guy.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And I think you're right in saying that it is veering dangerously close to self-aware, we're trying to make a bad movie territory. I think, honestly, the fact that it doesn't commit to that fully, the fact that it doesn't like just overtly say and do that is what ultimately saves it for me. Because I think, again, I haven't seen Feeders 3, but from what I've read on the sort of supplementary material for Feeders 3, that very much is more of the vibe that they're going into with the series from that film onwards. So I'm not a big fan of when people intentionally try to make bad movies. I never think they really work out well. But this at least still had some sincerity about it. I still think that it was at least trying to do something, even if that something was filming The Polonius Christmas 1997, and possibly making some new Feeders puppets in the process.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much more to say on Feeders 2. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
I mean, I can only end with one of the most significant moments of this movie, and that is...
That says it all right there.
Yeah. The rumblings of a priest in the basement, clearly.
Yep. So that was Feeders 2 from 1998. Dan and Triv, thank you guys once again for coming on and breathing life into this dead format with me. Definitely gonna reach out to you guys next season as well. At some point we will do Feeders 3. We've got to. We've made it this far. We can't stop now.
Now the Feeders win if we don't stop.
That's right.
My body is ready.
I don't know if your body is ready, man. We don't know what Feeders 3 holds.
No, we don't, unfortunately.
You're going to need more priests in your basement.
Yep.
I'll keep a bottle of the strong stuff just on the sidelines, just in case. You never know. You never know.
Fair.
So, yeah, I mean, thank you not only for this episode, but the other stuff you guys were on earlier in this year, just everything.
Cheers, man.
Oh, always
wouldn't have a show without the guests, so.
Well, you make it so much fun, man. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. So, before I let you guys go for the last time this season, why don't you just once more give a plug for TYTD reviews and Trivial Theater?
Well, as always, thank you so much for having me on. You can find me on YouTube, TYTD Reviews. We should probably be running our final few episodes of the season by the time this comes out. Highlights will probably include Santa Claus Conquers the Martians and Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. So,
wow.
The greatest Silent Night, Deadly Night film, I'm sure most people will agree. In the meantime as well, I'll be publishing on Letterboxd throughout the year, the rest of this year and next, and we're hoping to have a new season back out around March time next year. So that's me. You can find me at TYTD Reviews on YouTube, Letterboxd, and Blue Sky. And once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, if you want to locate, if your feet don't want to fail you now and you want to make your way over to my end of the spectrum or my end of the internet, you can find me at Trivial Theater here on YouTube. My schedule has been quite sporadic this year for a variety of real life reasons, but I am trying to get back into some form of schedule. But I'm hoping, if I can make it work, I'm hoping to hit up Fun in Balloon Land, but I think this will have aired by the time this comes live. But if you want to see me suffer suffer through one of the weirdest pieces of cinema to come out in the past 60 or 70 years, feel free to stop by and check that out. I will be putting out something for Christmas as well as for New Year's, but that has yet to be determined. Beyond that, I'm trying to do a better job of doing new stuff. So there's always something new over there. Otherwise, I'm on Letterboxd, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. I don't post a lot, but you can definitely check out what is coming up next if you want to keep track there. So, and Chris, as always, thank you so much. This has absolutely been a pleasure. So much fun to talk about this.
Thank you, guys. So on behalf of Dan from TYTD Reviews and Triv from Trivial Theater, I'm Chris, and this has been another episode of Dead Formats. If you have any questions about the show, or if you have a Dead Format topic that you'd like to hear me cover, or if you have any suggestions for potential guests, please reach out. You can email me at deadformatspod@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at deadformatspod. Thanks for listening.